Good afternoon to you. The setting, the San Paolo Stadium, the new league leaders, Napoli, against their predecessors in that respect. Juventus with the Italian league resuming after a 2-week absence, and this undoubtedly is today's major match. But Napoli very proud of a tradition that they are hard to beat here. Well, this is the opposition today. Juventus have Roberto Baggio back after injury, and they've brought in Roberto Gallia into midfield to stiffen the side in that respect in place of Angelo Alessio. Otherwise, it's the same side which scored first 2 weeks ago, but lost the match in Genoa, and with it, their place at the head of the table. Trapattoni took that defeat philosophically. This game billed here as Baggio against Zola, and it's certainly a fitting match to set before the new Italian manager, Arrigo Sacchi. Napoli, 14 games unbeaten, Giovanni Galli in goal, Ciro Ferrara, who played for Italy 8 days ago against the Soviet Union. So too did Massimo Crippa, but he's suspended, so Stefano De Agostini comes in. Alemão, one of the two Brazilians. The Frenchman, Laurent Blanc, is the sweeper. Fernando De Napoli, another current Italian international. Careca, of course, and Gianfranco Zola, who has certainly eased the pain of Maradona's controversial departure from Naples. The referee is Angelo Amendolia. Good afternoon to Paul Elliott. And Paul, you've got nostalgic memories of this San Paolo Stadium.
Yeah, I remember back in '89, it was one of my last games for Pisa against Napoli. We drew 0-0. It was a marvellous game, sellout crowd, 75,000 people, and obviously one of my fondest memories.
Tacconi has extra competition now with Juventus. Angelo Peruzzi is the reserve goalkeeper, who has just served a 1-year suspension for a doping offence when he was with Roma, and he's on the bench today. What a long year it must have seemed for him. And also Andrea Carnevali of Roma, an international, of course, was caught in the same trap, and we understand he's a substitute for Roma this afternoon. So Napoli defending the goal to the left. Zola slipping. It's not been a particularly good gap for Italian football, of course. The rest from league action because of the European Championship match for Italy against the Soviet Union in Moscow. Italy were a little unfortunate not to get the win that they so badly needed, but the goalless draw easing the Soviet Union towards Sweden and ending Azeglio Vicini's term as the manager of the Italian side. It's in the hands of Sacchi now, who is evaluating the players that you're evaluating this afternoon. Gallia, who's a useful squad player and has clearly been brought in for a specific job today. Marocchi trying to get the return pass with Schillaci, the spearhead for Juventus. There's Fernando De Napoli. Claudio Ranieri is the Napoli coach. His first season at the club came from Cagliari, where he did great things. Foul on Bloch, who's the successor now as the sweeper to Alessandro Renica. Corradini. Well, let him go a long way. Tidied up by Gallia. Baggio just hangs out and catches the opposing midfield too far forward. But he made nothing of the possession that his positioning got for him. Swept wide by Ferrara to Stefano De Agostini. Francini, formerly an Italian international, hasn't played for his country since 1988. Oh, it's a terrific turn by Zola. Padovano's in the middle. Zola goes on again. Tacconi not troubled in the final analysis, but Juventus certainly worried. Zola sets out his stall before Arrigo Sacchi here. He's not been in the national squad, but surely, Paul, that can only be a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, since he's come to Napoli, obviously he's had to feel the departure left by Maradona. Obviously, he showed he's a great player, great prospect. Every scene there. There's a great little ball by Lamau. He turns the defender, and very unfortunate not to hit the target.
Luigi D'Agostini. That's an interesting ball over the top for Schillaci to chase. And the door was closed on him just in time by Ferrara, who won his 25th cap for Italy in Moscow last weekend. Gallia has come forward with Carrera towards the near post. De Napoli made sure it didn't reach Casiraghi. Julio Cesar. Well, like most Brazilians, he enjoys shooting from long range, the number 6, but didn't think of it then. He might now, if he can work it onto his right foot. De Napoli aware of the danger. Gallia is there. Juventus keeping the pressure on, probing patiently. And Baggio has got away from Blanc. It's a great chance here, and maybe one stride too many from Baggio. Easy to say with hindsight, but Blanc was not the insurance policy that Napoli needed then. Baggio bearing down on the goal and not able to cut it back quickly enough for those filling the centre for Juventus. Baggio takes the corner himself. Twisted away by Giovanni Galli. Julio Cesar well forward again. Schillaci. Marocchi. D'Agostini. And Baggio gets another corner. Variation to the corner. And at the moment, Napoli push back into their own half. It's an impressive start from Juventus. But here's Zola. Italian sides, the masters at playing on the break. But they couldn't do it then. Napoli. Marocchi seeing a lot of the ball. Pressed by Padovano, had to come a little deeper to just add some more substance to Napoli in midfield. They're being outplayed in that department at the moment. And the chances are starting to come for Juventus. But now here's Fernando De Napoli trying to catch Juventus out. De Napoli is the player hurt. Carecchia wants to get on with the game, having got the free kick. He's a great fetcher and carrier, Fernando De Napoli. A very popular person in the Italian game. An outward-going character. One of the jokers that every team likes to have in the dressing room. Claudio Ranieri, is today celebrating his 40th birthday. There'd be no better way than for his Napoli to beat Juventus. Oh, and almost a chance for Zola to get in behind Juventus from Alamao's little ball in field. Baggio. This is Roberto Gallia in a lot of room. A chance to measure across. He took too long thinking about it. Zola having to take his share of the defending for Napoli, which is restricting the time he can put in the other half of the field. Gallia. Zola again, coming out on top defensively. But it almost seems a waste, Paul. Obviously, attacking players, and I'm sure it's the same at your club, Chelsea, they're expected to work back, but Zola has so much more to offer a match of this magnitude.
That was a bad foul there, actually.
By Cola, it's a yellow card.
I mean, he was in the wrong part of the field as well. I think he should have probably used his initiative a bit, because they weren't really hurting him there as well, and I think it's needlessly he's given away a bad foul there.
And it's quite properly a free kick. It was an inviting one too, driven in by Zola. Good tackle by Corradini. Oh, and Alamao almost played Napoli back into trouble. Careca and Julio Cesar played together for Brazil in the '86 World Cup. Zola looking for Alamao and finding him. Here's Franchini, who really has an eye for the attacking option. Well, that was excellent play. It was more direct. Zola started it, and Franchini very nearly finished it.
Yeah, that was good play. I think that's what we're expecting really from Napoli. They're playing at home. They've got to come forward. They've got to play with a bit more initiative there. I mean, it was a good move. We started with Careca and Zola, and then obviously he's had a good shot there, Franchini. Unfortunate not to hit to score.
Padovano, for Napoli spirits surging again. And Alamao, who we often see in the middle of midfield, has been restricted to the left, but he played a part there. He made the pass possible for Zola by getting forward down the left-hand side, and was able to show his great appreciation and vision, instantly aware of where Franchini was arriving. Well, you feel that half-time might come at the wrong time for Napoli. They found a bit of extra thrust in the closing minutes of the first half. They've got some impetus going, and Zola's been at the heart of it. Ball just veering away then off the outside of the boot. Referee conducting affairs with a smile. And apart from the rash challenge by Cola, which earned the correct booking, there hasn't been too much in the way of serious animosity in these matches last season. They finished 1-1 here. Fernando De Napoli was sent off. It was 1-0 to Juventus in Turin And the goalkeeper, Galli, was sent off for Napoli. And right at the end of the match, when Casiraghi had just scored a late winner for Juventus, Crippa was sent off. Crippa, let me remind you, suspended today for accumulating too many yellow cards. Perhaps a bit lucky not to follow Kohler into the referee's notebook. It's the second foul from behind on Padovani. Paul, half-time shortly upon us. Your appreciation of what's happened so far?
Well, Napoli disappointing to start, but I think half-time's come at the wrong time. They've stepped up a level. They're playing the ball forward a lot more quicker, with a bit more purpose, and I'm sure there's good things to come in the second half.
Maybe even before half-time at this free kick. And Zola, although he's right-footed, whereas Maradona, of course, was left-footed, has taken on the mantle at set pieces with standards that are almost as high. I say almost, I don't think there'll ever be another Maradona in that respect. Careca is there as well, alongside Zola. And Alamau hits it! Oh, against the post! And it flew back towards Franchini. Well, certainly the closest we've come to a goal in stoppage time from Ricardo Alamau. We thought about Zola, we thought about Careca, and maybe Juventus did as well, and neglected Alamau. Schillaci looking to serve up a chance for Juventus within seconds. D'Agostini, it's a great hit, it's a great goal. Luigi D'Agostini. And two terrific shots, one at each end, with vastly differing outcomes. Alamau hits the post, and then Juventus break away, and Luigi D'Agostini, the player that Napoli tried to sign in the summer, and you can see why. Giovanni Galli scarcely moved, and Napoli, who were so close to taking the lead, are a goal behind.
That was an absolutely marvellous strike. I mean, it's strange that you've had two great efforts, one's gone in and one's hit the post.
Careca! Well, it shows what margins the game operates on. And at a time when Napoli were directing the traffic, were forcing the pace, and were, well, millimetres away from going in front themselves, that was a very cruel blow to them. Well, D'Agostini, who's a quiet sort of a character, who lets his football do the talking. He's been provoked over the last couple of weeks by one or two suggestions that now that he's turned 30, he's beginning to move towards the twilight of his career. But nothing could be further from the truth. And Juventus now want the half-time whistle to go. They certainly have had the greater share of the possession. We've learnt over the months not to trust totally the work of the computer, but particularly in the opening 20 minutes of the game, Juventus were able to control the shape of the match, but they're not doing that now. It was De Napoli who got the cross in, and Jurgen Kohler reacted very smartly at the near post. It was always an interesting first half, but it really has come alive in its final minutes. Zola takes the corner. Schillaci will want to get it away. Well, he saw what was the safe ball, and here are Juventus streaming out. Reuter running to the left of Baggio. Reuter running free. Is it going to be two? Not quite. Well, we've had 4 minutes of stoppage time. And the referee quite entitled to do that. But what an astonishing sequence it has produced. And the drama not over yet because Juventus have a player injured. And while our eyes were on Reuters' run, which very nearly doubled the lead given to Trapattoni's team in the grand manner by Luigi De Agostini with a great shot with his trusted left foot. Napoli had wrapped the post with Alamau and very nearly forced a goal in at the near post from Zola's cross after the Juventus goal. Astonishing scenes in Naples. Napoli 0, Juventus 1. That's the way it stands at half-time in the San Paolo Stadium. Well, Napoli's great record is under threat. The side here which has shared the responsibility since Maradona left. Maradona, who really was the player they gave the ball to in every situation possible, and in passing the ball sometimes did pass the responsibility in that respect. So very much a collective effort now. And it looks to me as though Napoli have made a change, but they might have to make another one now with Padovano down, and he really has been on the receiving end of some robust tackles, with Carrera leading the way in that respect. Paul Elliott, what do you expect really from the second half now that, well, the gauntlet has been thrown down to Napoli?
Well, I feel, you know, we've got potentially a great second half. Napoli's got to come out. They've got to get the ball forward quicker to Zola, because I felt that, you know, he'd done some great, wonderful things with the ball, and I feel that himself and Correca could be the two match winners here today. But Juventus, they're defending well. I think the three centre-backs, Julius Cesar, Curler, Reuter, they're playing very well, so they'll be hard to break down.
Here's the substitute, Pushedo. Well, Napoli were forcing the pace and they lost a goal. They've just got to redouble their efforts. Try to unsettle Reuter and his teammates. Oh, that's too long from Careca. Aimed towards Padovano. It's going to be a change by Trapattoni. He's got Carini ready to come on. Carini, who filled in so well for Baggio in Genoa, and has to do the same job again, whether Baggio has got a recurrence of the previous injury. If it is so, that could mean a longer layoff. Carini, now Marocchi. Galea. Juventus conscious, I'm sure, that they must maintain some sort of initiative and not rely on those at the back to keep Napoli out. A win for Juventus, they would go above Napoli. We'd have to wait on other results, of course, to see whether it would take Juventus back to the top of the table. De Napoli finding some space. Careca. Juventus have players back, but they're now starting to mark a little more tightly with Cola on Careca. linesman has called it as a foul. Kola leads the applause. Actually, there isn't too much applause to lead because it's mostly whistles of derision. And now Careca gets a yellow card for his dissent. So he's been booked, so too has the player who's dogging his footsteps, the German Jürgen Kola. And that episode occurring near enough to the crowd in this vast stadium for some unseemly reaction there. One or two objects thrown in the direction of the linesman. Schillaci, who's had to toil away up front with Casiraghi. It's not easy for front players when the midfield build-up is slow. Alamao. Now Zola wants help on the left, and it's provided by the substitute Puchedo. Juventus have regrouped. They still lead by a goal to nil. Headed away by Julio Cesar. Not dangerous play, which is so often given in Italy when the feet are raised. Now Padovano going round the outside, caught by Carrera. So the Napoli fans feel and not many of the decisions going the home team's way, which isn't always the case in this stadium. But looking at that, Paul, did the referee get it right?
I think he made a correct decision, actually. Padovano, he was looking for the penalty, but I felt that whilst there was a contact made, I think it was very minimal. Very brave of the referee indeed, actually, in front of the home crowds. I think with 60,000 Napolitanos.
Very brave indeed, yes. This is a difficult ground in all circumstances for the visiting team to come away with a success. That's not always down to the excellence of Napoli, which has been the case in recent weeks. Good driving run here by Puchedo. It's produced a corner.
It's nice to see, actually, Napoli up in the pace now, because I realise I've got to get a goal back. But I think what's got to be careful is that Juventus, they're defending very well. And it's just a counter-attack, as we've seen a few times in the first half, they could get caught.
Nice to see if you're a neutral, not too good to see if you're Trapattoni. That's Blanc trying to head it back across goal. Alamao letting it run, knowing it will be his throw. And it's reached by Ferrara, who reacted very well indeed. A striker would have been proud of that. Hauled a poor cross in by Alamao. And then with his back to the goal, turned and lined it up and got it on target. The captain leading by example. Anticipated by Alamao. He's such a splendid runner with the ball, and indeed without it. Careca, Alamao, this has all come from Brazil. Tacconi finding the shot. Must have just been spinning a little bit. The handling wasn't clean, he prevented the corner though.
That's good play by Alamao. I think now he's starting to get into his rhythm now. As we can see, he's a fine athlete. He's making a lot of runs. He started the previous run, and unfortunately not to end up with the goal there.
Schillaci, he'd just like Juventus to move upfield now and steal a second. Marocchi, and Blanc across. Chased by De Agostini. No hard feelings. Well, D'Agostini has an interest in a family wine business up in the north of Italy. They'll be breaking open a bottle or two of the best tonight if it stays this way.
I think they've done that just seeing his goal, to be quite honest with you.
Quite right too. Zola and Alamau blocked off by a rather limping Marocchi. De Napoli. Here's Carreca. Zola's in the middle. Alamau's come outside Carreca. De Napoli trying to take it on the volley and oh, well, it was a mishit of a shot, and the touch that's been so admirable for Zola let him down badly. Juventus are going to bring on Lupi.
I feel now Carreca seems to be drifting slightly away from the game now. Zola seems to be taking over. He's doing a lot of good work, but you know, there's really no end product at the moment. I'd like to see a bit more support for Zola, to be quite honest with you, because he's got marvellous, outstanding abilities and he's doing a lot of great things outside the box. But I really feel that, you know, he needs to get that inside the box and really get the Juventus defence under a lot of pressure, because I think they're playing very well, the defence. They've been outstanding.
Well, as you have seen, D'Agostini is the player who's been replaced by Lupi. And they've taken Marocchi's state of health into account in making that change. He's certainly not moving freely, number 7. But I think the concern is, although D'Agostini was limping, it's tactical really, because although he's a fine attacking player on the left, over the last 10 minutes or so, Alamau has become more and more a force on that far side. Trapattoni trying to plug a gap or two. But here's Puchetto! Oh! Agonisingly close. He came up as the extra man, and Juventus lost him. And were very nearly severely punished because of that.
That was a great effort, actually. You can see the despair in his looks there. In actual fact, it was too much of a perfect ball. He actually went for goal, but he just was inches past, and obviously you saw Carreca there. He didn't know what to do.
And Schillaci, who has been booked, all apology to De Napoli. The referee took a tolerant view of it and was right to do so. Although it has caught De Napoli somewhere up around the shoulder. It really didn't look a very menacing collision. Well, Trapattoni giving a coaching class to his players. He can't be informing any more substitutes about an involvement in the game, because he's brought on Carini, he's brought on Lupi. Ranieri still has one more alteration to make if he wants to do it. He's got a very inexperienced bench. He might have to do it with De Napoli still feeling the injury. Well, Juventus kicking the ball away, but too far away for the crowd's liking, trying to give possession back, and that's not to their liking either. Julio Cesar recognising the priorities for Juventus. It's not a bad ball either. Schillaci chasing it with plenty of interest. Here's Schillaci. Is he going to get a second? But for the trailing foot of Galli would have done. Well, he's chased and hoped, and it all looked as though it was going to materialise for him there from the most uncultured clearance of the match. Schillaci needs treatment. Julio Cesar has a yellow card. Well, he really is built for the job, along the lines of my co-commentator here this afternoon. But matters, even with the great physique, can get out of hand, as Julio Cesar found out then. And Galli telling the referee that this is all a time-wasting exercise. Well, the referee added on 4 minutes of stoppage time in the first half. We have 10 minutes of regulation time to be played, plus his thoughts on that subject in the second half. All credit to Galli for the save from Schillaci, particularly when he hasn't had too much to do in the second half. Keep you up to date with the yellow cards. Here's Block. Maybe he can make the difference. He did that often enough for his club in France, Montpellier. Marvellous record of scoring goals, playing as a sweeper. Zola tried the back heel. It went to De Napoli in the other direction. He's still got problems to ponder. I think it's a bruised elbow this time. Oh, and, well, away from the referee, but right in front of the camera. Francini letting Schillaci know in the wrong way that he wasn't very happy with what went on. And if the referee had seen that, at least a yellow card would have been in order. You just can't go around kicking players. It wasn't the full boot, but it was still a stupid thing to do. The second substitute is Filadi, in his second spell with Napoli. Actually made his debut in the first division back in 1985, had 4 seasons here, and went to Avellino and Taranto in the lower leagues. Came back in the summer, really is a squad player. So Ranieri not giving the responsibility to his only reserve striker at the moment, the 17-year-old Elia, who's named in the 16 today for the first time. It's over Alamao. Gallia filling in. He's been a wise selection by Trapattoni today. Carini almost caught out by the persistent attempts from Alamao. And Juventus very happy to see the ball in this area of the pitch. The one goal that flew past Giovanni Galli. Puchedu. And some of the Napoli support, famed though it is, have drifted away. Julio Cesar. They might miss a grandstand finish here. Blanc. He comes to earth with Juventus eventually with Marocchi. And the flag has stayed down. This is Lupi. And that really would have rubbed salt in the wounds of Napoli. And Galli explaining to the referee that he got it entirely wrong, but Lupi, in a way for Juventus, the wrong player in the right position. He roared away with no hesitation on his part until it came to the shot. We move into stoppage time. And Napoli have lost their concentration at the corner. Carini crosses. Ferrara gets there first before Schillaci. Puchedu. Cut out by Cola. There was no thought at all of him going upfield for the corner at this stage. let me remind you that they had a 14-match unbeaten run. That they've been able to carry on without Maradona because they have played so well since he departed. But they lose now for the first time since last March, their first home defeat since last November. D'Agostini's wonderful goal in stoppage time at the end of the first half settled the issue. Napoli 0, Juventus 1. We start our roundup in Turin. Torino in second place, Roma fifth, separated only on goal difference. Roma had won their previous 3 away matches, but went behind here. Giorgio Bresciani off the mark for the season, the goal after 21 minutes. But Roma equalised in the 11th minute of the second half. A corner taken by Thomas Hessler, reaching Bonacina, and when his shot was blocked, Aldair followed in to score. Torino protested that Bonacina had handled when the corner had reached him, but the goal stood. The teams well matched, both now on 9 points from 7 games. Milan and Parma, 2 clubs with close ties, and they also shared an unbeaten record. Alessandro Melli allowed a lot of room here, but Rossi moved quicker than his defenders to make a fine low save. Milan settling to their style now. Ruud Gullit raiding well down the right, Massaro laying the ball back for Albertini. It was Costa Curta in particular who provided Gullit with the service to make a major impact. Tapparel stopping what would have been the Dutch superstar's first goal of the season. But it arrived 15 minutes into the second half, again from Costa Curta's clever pass. 1-0 to Milan. The replay shows that Tapparel touched the shot, but not sufficiently to keep it out. Milan almost caught out by a Parma set-piece, Minotti making contact from the corner, but Milan effectively won the match here. Ivani's initial cross looked too long for Albertini, but the youngster showed his shooting power yet again, Van Basten finally nodding the ball into the net. Referee Foggia a central figure now. Van Basten away, Tapparel diving for the ball, but catching Van Basten. A penalty, but no sending off for the Brazilian goalkeeper, who made the most of that decision by guessing right and going left for Van Basten's penalty. But Parma still going down to their first defeat. Inter, yet another of the pack of teams on 8 points away to Cagliari, who'd lost their 5 previous matches. Another defeat looming when Dino Baggio put Inter in front. And that would have been almost certain given Cagliari's poor recent record if Yelpo hadn't somehow parried from Nicola Berti. The importance of that save emphasised when Daniel Fonseca nipped in to make it 1-1. Fonseca, the Uruguayan, back from suspension for this match, looked good for another goal here, but he was stopped by a terrific tackle from Paganin. Cagliari could have won the match in the second half, Francescoli firing over. Another opportunity for Napoli. 1-1, but after that unproductive run, Cagliari pleased with a point, Inter not at their best. If you'd had to back one surefire home winner in this round of matches, you'd have gone for Sampdoria. But right from the outset, there were signs that Atalanta's goalkeeper Ferron was in fine fettle. Sampdoria not short on their usual style, Vialli letting the ball run, Mancini lifting it far too high. Invernizzi playing the ball through to Vialli. Ferron stopping him, adding to his 6 goals so far. And Invernizzi involved again here, winning the ball back, but Lombardo taken by surprise. Atalanta more accurate, particularly Carlos Bianchesi, the Brazilian who likes to be known as Careca. His role model, the Napoli striker, would have been proud of that. But Sampdoria handed a lifeline. Cornacchia ruled to have impeded Mancini. Mancini, not Vialli taking the penalty. Sampdoria ruining that decision, especially when Bianchesi broke clear. Fausto Pari's mistake. And Claudio Canicchia following up to score 2-0 to Atalanta. And it could have been even worse for the champions. Cerezo the culprit this time, almost a replica of the second goal. The South Americans got the goals. Verona got even more of the praise. Another shock for Sampdoria. Lazio led the way earlier in the season. Genoa knocked Juventus off the top in the previous round of games. Ruben Sosa, typically lively for Lazio. Thomas Doll with a great angle for this cross. Bacci's volley. Genoa giving ground and giving away a goal. Bralia totally beaten by Gabriele Pin. Branco almost replied in kind early in the second half. And then Bortolazzi with a reminder of his class, which Juventus won't forget for a while. Genoa much more in the match now. Ruotolo shaving the post after some precise passing. Ruben Sosa trying to round off a Lazio win. But Genoa's foreigners found the last flourish. 8 minutes left, Aguilera's 5th goal of the season. Scuravi had headed the ball on. A familiar scoreline for supporters of Lazio, 1-1. Ascoli are in danger of coming adrift at the bottom of the table, even this early in the season. Foggia soon in full cry through Dan Petrescu. A fine example, this, of the quality of Foggia's football. Rambaudi, Baiano, Shalimov involved in the build-up, but Baroni couldn't give the move the goal it deserved. Another angle on Ascoli. Trollio, the Argentinian, just off target for them. Foggia still lacking the final touch in front of goal. Rambaudi missing out. But the goal was well worth waiting for. Signori with a savage shot, ripping into the top corner of the net with 11 minutes to go. Vervoort almost matched it for Ascoli, but Mancini made a magnificent save. Ascoli's 6th defeat in 7 games. Cremonese started the day, one of 3 clubs without a win, Ascoli and Bari the others. A flying start for them, though, against Verona. First chance, first goal, Gualco's header. Verona's reaction to that was petulant. Pin sent off for 2 bookable offences. And likewise, Alessandro Renica. Renica's 2nd dismissal since his summer move from Napoli. Against 9 men, Cremonese in charge. A great save, though, by Gregori from Chiori's first-timer. Still only 1-0 at half-time. And from a corner taken by Pritz, Luca Pellegrini trying to defy the odds with an equaliser. And those odds improved when Jacobelli of Cremonese became the 3rd player to receive a red card. So drama and comedy in Cremona. Look at this, Dezzotti sent clear. But eventually colliding embarrassingly with his colleague Gian De Biaggi. Red faces as well as red cards in this match. But Cremonese did strike again, a goal in keeping with the confusion. Favali muddling the ball past Verona's struggling defenders. More amazing action now. Magrin's free kick, then goalkeeper Rampula stranded out of his goal, on his way back, saving a header which was going wide. A touch of quality in the end, Dezzotti flicking in Chiori's corner. Cremonese's first win emphatic, but what fun and games along the way. Bari not so lucky away to Fiorentina. Both clubs, of course, under new management now. Batistuta and Borgonovo setting up. Carlos Dunga, Bari behind after just 15 minutes. Batistuta doing all the work himself this time, and Beato in the Bari goal, looking the beleaguered keeper he has become over the past few weeks. David Platt did well here to respond when his own free kick failed to clear the wall. But Fiorentina had all the better chances, underlying the task facing Zivi Boniek to improve Bari. This is Orlando's shot, covered by Beato. And then it was Batistuta skimming the Bari bar. It was a similar story in the second half. Fiorentina flourishing under their new coach, Gigi Radici. Karobi certainly entitled to shoot here, although there were other options in the centre. Orlando wasted the next opening, and Bari suddenly found themselves in the game and started charging forward. But you certainly know when your luck's out, the inevitable breakaway. Batistuta, unselfishly, to Orlando, who didn't miss this time. And Bari have lost all their away games so far. Bari now second from bottom, Cagliari moving above them on goal difference. Cremonese out of the bottom four thanks to that 3-goal romp against Verona. But look at the champions who slipped into 11th place. The other side of the coin though, they're only 3 points off the top. Milan lead on goal difference with a game in hand. Napoli dropped to third. Torino, Roma, Inter, Lazio and Genoa all drew. Juventus in second place, though they scored only 7 goals in 7 matches. Their latest success very satisfying, though. Napoli's unbeaten run ending at 14 games, all under the scrutiny of Arrigo Sacchi, a marvellous manager at Milan. Can he now inspire Italy in his new job? Luigi D'Agostini will hope to be part of his plans. He did his cause no harm at all. Napoli coach Claudio Ranieri was looking for a party on his 40th birthday, but the celebrations belonged to Juventus.